Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carruth Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2011 movie titled Fast Five. Now, Fast Five is an action movie that runs for 2 hours and 10 minutes long. It is directed by Justin Lin. It is produced by Neil H. Moritz, Vin Diesel, and Michael Fottrell. The script was done by Chris Morgan, and based on the characters by Gary Scott Thompson. The score was done by Brian Tyler, the cinematography by Stephen Wyndham, and the editing was done by Christian Wagner, Kelly Matsumoto, and Fred Raskin. And the stars of the movie are Vin Diesel, the late Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Chris Ludscris Bridges, Matt Schulze, Sung Kang, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Gal Gadot, Joaquim de Almeida, and Elsa Pataky. Now, like a fine wine, the Fast and the Furious franchise, let me just say, just keeps getting better. And in Fast 5, my theory reigns true. The first part of the installment was high-flying and vastly exciting. Then the sequel came out, which was not up to hype as its predecessor was, and then I was starting to give up hope once Tokyo Drift was released. Yes, Tokyo Drift was that bad. I really had lowered expectations when Fast and the Furious was released, and to my surprise, it rejuvenated my confidence in the franchise. But let's just say Fast 5 exceeds all my expectations as one of the best movies of the bunch, which is rare in the realm of tiring sequels and lazy remakes that the movie industry surreptitiously likes to promote. I mean, Lethal Weapon has had very good sequels in its heyday, and The Terminator, not to mention Rocky as well. I never expected this franchise would survive the test of time. It's like an underdog in its own right. Now, the story of the movie is Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, and Brian O'Connor, along with Brian's girlfriend and Dominic's sister Mia Toretto, played by Jordana Brewster. After they abduct Toretto, who was supposed to be sentenced to 25 years to life. He was on a prison bus, but Brian and Mia crash into the bus that Dominic was on. Dominic somehow miraculously, who seems to have more lives than Houdini, actually escaped death, and Dominic, O'Connor, and Mia or Maya have now relocated to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the birthplace of Dominic Toretto, and while they're there, they get they run into a very shrewd businessman by the name of Hernan Reyes, who's like this all very powerful drug lord, and he is hiding a stash of dirty money, corrupt money, hidden in a secret vault located in a police station. And inside that vault is money that could be well worth up to $100 million. But obviously, Toretto, O'Connor, and Maya, well, they can't seem to do this operation on their own. So they hire a ragtag of group of people from previous Fast and the Furious franchise to take them down. Such characters include Chris Ludacris's Chris Ludacris Bridges' character. His name is Tig, who seems to be somewhat adept at technology and gadgets. And then you have Tyrese Gibson, who plays the role of Roman Pierce. He was in the second installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise, Too Fast, Too Furious. Of course, they need him for his role because he's a quick talking, fast talking, maybe even some people would say the mouthy one of the group. And then you have Ho San, played by Sung Kang, from, I think he was from the Tokyo Drift Fast and the Furious franchise. He is kind of sometimes nicknamed the chameleon, who could somehow blend into things. He's like an escape artist. And then you have Giselle, who's like a weapons expert. She's the bombshell in the group, who could sometimes lure her way into using seductive tactics to overcome adversary. So she also is joining in the force. And then you have a couple of Spanish guys. One of them is played by Don Omar. The other one is played by, I believe, Pedro Calderon. These guys are known as being adept at breaking into things. So, Toretto has brought a ragtag of some guys noted for their swift wits and their ways of escaping corruption through a heist. This was a heist movie, so in some ways it felt a little more plot driven than some of the other previous Fast and the Furious franchise, and it was just exciting to watch. Okay, maybe this is not gonna be up for any Oscars. It's not the best piece of writing. It's not, you know, something that'll make you ponder. This is fucking entertainment at its finest. I mean, if anybody who was bored to death by this movie, there's got to be something wrong with you. You must have issues of some sort. I'm not saying people can choose what they like or what they don't like. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying anything bad or anything like that. But the excitement just goes on from the very, very beginning. Many people think that this movie had too many crashes, too many breakthrough buildings. Even in this movie, hey, look, there's still the tradition of the Fast and the Furious, fast cars, quick action, excitement. Every scene will just purely go right in your face. It's loud, sure. And in this movie, of course, with the excitement going on, even pedestrians are not safe to walk the streets. Sure, I think there might be a bit cliche because I don't think everybody in Rio de Janeiro goes around carrying guns, and I don't think everywhere in Rio there's gangsterisms. I mean, let's face it, sometimes when I saw this movie, I was thinking, is Rio really that gang related? But you know, I don't really like to think that way. I mean, many people have visited Rio and came back in one piece, so okay, that's kind of a bit of a cliche. There are cliches in this movie. Yes, there is the cliche dialogue, especially from Ludscris and Tyrese Gibson. And some people sometimes often think that Paul Walker might be a little too old to be talking in colloquial slang or anything like that. Of course, there's also some subplots too in this movie. Of course, Vin Diesel is not only just up against Hernan Reyes and his group of gangs and the heist to get the safe that has over $100 million locked in. There's of course some subplots, including Mia Toretto, who some way middle in the point announces that she's pregnant with O'Connor's child, and there's of course a great added addition to this movie is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Commander Hobbs, I think his name is Luke Hobbs, yeah, he joins the party. At one time, he was like after Toretto. They even have a exciting, epical confrontation with each other, which could have probably would have been great if it would have been in a WWE ring. But I don't think so. I think their street fight was just as exciting as The Rock taking on Triple H. However, I would have liked to have seen The Rock give the rock bottom to Big Vinny. But I guess, who knows? Maybe that might be an idea for WrestleMania 32, although I doubt that will likely happen. Oh well, there's always WrestleMania 33, Vin Diesel, if you really want to make an appearance. Or you could be in an audience member at WrestleMania 32, who knows? Just an idea. But then eventually Hobbs ends up becoming allies with Toretto, and I guess the other person who also forms an alliance with them joining in is a girl by the name of Elena Neves, played by Elsa Pataky. Uh, she is, of course, hired by Hobbs, not just because of her smile, but because she knows everything about the Favillas. There's a side story, a subplot about her that, she joined the police force after her husband was murdered. And eventually she, at first, became an opponent to Toretto, but then they eventually became love interests towards each other. So there's a lot of subplots there. I didn't really care too much about the subplots because I was cared about the action and the excitement and the fun that was brought into this movie. Fun was actually brought back into this movie. There was not too much in terms of gore, but there was a lot of crashes. There was a lot of breaking into buildings. There was a lot of heists. There was a lot of, corruption. The police cops there in Brazil seem to be somewhat keeping Reyes's and this Reyes guy, he's kind of a slick guy. He kind of reminds me a little bit like the Portuguese version of the Godfather. He's got all the money and all this fancy clothes, and he's hiring these people to get involved in this dirty laundry thing. So the story of Fast Five is actually quite well above average. It's like a confrontation from where we left off from the previous installment. Of course, Dominic Toretto and the gang conjures up a way to escape the seemingly endless array of escaping from the law. And of course, there's family issues. There's another subplot that centers on a drug kingpin and a missing computer chip. If you have a DVR, if you don't want to go through all these silly, ridiculous subplots, well, you can just fast forward these scenes because they're really not worth mentioning, which is all not that bad. But the main purpose of the movie isn't due to the brilliant performances or the scintillating script. The hell with that. You're here for the exhibition of colorful, high-energized cars, the endless non-stop action, and, of course, the attractive ladies. And there is a few of them, including one of the members I'm talking about, Gail Gadot, who plays the role of Giselle Yashar. Oh, man, you should have seen the scene where she eventually tries to get Hernan's, Mr. Reyes' handprints on the safe, because the only way to break into the safe is through Reyes' handprint. And then Reyes, he's at the beach or something, and he puts his hand on her butt. Lucky guy, isn't he? Isn't it great to have loads of money and stylish clothes and a big enterprise with loads of loot? Yeah. And, as I mentioned before, Fast Five, of course, did not win any Oscars or Golden Globes, but you know what? Who really gives a fuck? The performers like Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, God rest his soul, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jordana, Brewster, and Kang are all out just to have a great time. and the chemistry within the characters is actually quite good. Of course, it's all about the action like these, and which will definitely leave you breathless. Such memorable scenes include the one where the gang confiscates cars from a moving train. Who in their right minds would do something so stupid and dangerous? Well, who else? Toretto and O'Connor. Another is an awesome foot chase in the condensed slums of Brazil. The scenery is definitely postcard perfect. It's where The Rock and the Vin embark in a battle that was one of the rare moments that was not dependent on CGI. Like I said, this would be a great WrestleMania match between you two. Book it up. Get Vince McMahon and Stephanie to sign you guys up. It would be epical. And let's not forget about the climax, but I won't give any spoilers away. Also, be sure to stay around for the end credits to know what the next installment will be about. I'll only tell when I do a review on Fast and Furious 6. Keep that in mind. It's a date. So overall, Fast 5 offers exhilarating action, backed up with scintillating visuals with a compelling story that will keep you on the edge, and great acting for those who love action flicks. If I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would definitely give it an 8. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. Remember, be kind, be courteous, and refrain from any rudeness. And I will be back again with another review. So until next time, this is Eric, your writer, saying keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.